In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make the beautiful card we saw at the beginning using the Hathersage die. And this die is one of what I call class as sort of my new concept dies, in that you've got every section is separate. So you have a separate outside line. You also have a separate inside line, which will allow you to make mats and layers and frames. But you also have the detail is in 4 separate dies, so that you can use these in conjunction with these to create frames, to create drop-in pieces, but also so that these can be used as 4 separate corners. They can be put together to make a butterfly. 4 of them can make a pattern. So you can do a lot of pattern building just by using the 4 dies in there. You then have a central die which cuts you out this beautiful plaque, a die which will cut into that or another piece of card and just give you these 4 circular corners, giving you a suggestion of a circle. A beautiful circular die which has the same little sort of flower heads that are on the corners on each point, a square for the center for your sentiment, and there's also a bonus in the center added in of one of my marigold dies. So if you want to add flowers to this project or any project made using this die, you don't need separate flower dies. So I'm going to pop all of these back, and each one of these dies is relatively fine, so you may find that you just need to straighten them out once you've used them to get them back onto your thing. As you can see, the pressure in the machines is getting more and more, so finer dies, as dies get finer, it means that they can sort of bend and twist a little bit, but they won't go out of shape. So we're going to start with, I've got a white piece of card here, and I've just matted this onto a little bit of black, and this has just been cut to 5.5 by 6 by 6. And I've then taken a black piece of card 6 by 6, and I've cut out the outside line, and this is going to give me a mat or a pattern to actually place the corners in. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape and just tape those 2 pieces of card together, because I'm not using this frame in this project. I'll use it for another project. But what I have done is to cut 4 of the corners. And to get the placement of these absolutely perfect, then I want to make sure I'm using the actual pattern. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue glaze onto the back of each of these, and using that mat, I can place the corners exactly into place. So again, a little bit of glue glaze on, and you can of course just go like this. Because you've got 4 of them, you could just have opposing corners if you wanted to, or as I'm going to do, you can have all 4 corners. So again, a little bit of glue glaze just on there, as it makes putting these detailed die cuts down absolutely perfect. But by doing it this way, using the outside line die cut just to give us a little bit of a template, it means that we can get the corners exactly right. So we'll take this 4th one, just taking off a little bit of overcut there, and we'll place these in. So again, I'm using that little guide, placing those down. I can then lift that off and I get the exact perfect placement of 4 corners and that beautiful delicate frame. So what I've done next is to cut one of the panels from the next die down in the set. So I've cut that in black, and I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape onto here, just so that I get a little bit of depth and dimension. So turning it to the back, and we'll just cut off the foam tape. Actually, yeah, just checking which is the back and which is the front. Sometimes it's very hard to tell these days. And again, the actual pattern that's given will match. So we can see there how those perfectly frame that, but we've cut them in 4 separate pieces. By using that drop piece, it really works. I've then taken one of the new sentiments from the John Next Door Modern Sentiment set, and I've stamped that out, which is, may your birthday be a special celebration and a wonderful day to remember. And I've simply then cut that out with that die and then chopped around it. So I'll show you what I mean. I've simply taped that down and I'm going to run that through my machine. I'm just using my Kaleido, as all the dies in this set will fit through a standard A5 die cutting machine. So you don't need an A4 die cutting machine for this. So you can see here, all I'm going to do then is just take my scissors. You can do this with a paper trimmer, and just chop that all the way around the die, and we get that beautiful square then that hangs. And I've just stuck that onto a piece of black card and then popped it onto the next die in the set, which is this one here. So we've cut that, we've mounted this onto black and stuck it on top, and again I've added a little foam tape in the back. So this will just frame exactly into there, and you can see there we get that beautiful sentiment all framed, but it looks as if it's floating. It works out really beautifully. I'm just going to now take a few little pearls, these are the Craft Artist pearls, and pop one in each corner on each of these central flowers, which just helps to frame that. And again, if you notice, there are little flowers either side inside each of these little corner pieces, so that you can, if you want to, just decorate a little bit further. Everything's been designed in this set so that it makes it easier for you. The whole idea of the concept is to make things nice and easy so that you don't have, takes away all of the guesswork. So there we've got that beautifully framed. So we could take our card blank and we could just mount that on, and there we go. However, what I've done for this die set is I've made myself a frame just using the press cut, stitch dot and square dies, and I've foam mounted these together. So the frame is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, and I can just frame that exactly. You see now why it's important that we have those corners in the right place. And then finally I've cut 2 more corners in white, and this is the benefit of the die in that you get the corner dies separately, so you can just cut as few or as many as you want. So I'm just going to again add a little bit of glue glaze onto the back of here, and that way I can just simply frame, and these dies will fit into any die set or any frame that you make that is 1 inch wide. So I made sure that the actual corners are they only need 1 inch to go on. So you can see there we're just creating that little bit there, and then I can alternate that in the same way as the first one, this time with black pearls, and again get them in exactly the same place by watching the 2 little flowers on each side to match exactly. And we then simply take that, and here I've got a card blank that's been cut to 7 1/2 inches by 7 1/2 inches. I'm going to glue on the main element, as wet glue is always better for sticking it to your final card, making sure you get it, you can move it around, get it completely straight. And there we have our finished card. We've not used all of the dies even in the Hathersage set. We've only used the 4 corner dies, the outline, the main and the section there. But of course we are left then with pieces to start our next project, which is one of the best ways to actually get yourself continuing to craft and using the same pieces over and over again, but in different ways. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.